from China. Now, there's quite a bit of challenges going on because there's a VPN in between the stream, obviously, and I'm hoping that the quality remains good and there's no speed issues. I bought a DJI mic, so the mic issues are probably solved. Sound issues. Let me see. The mic issues are probably solved. The mic sounds good, so I'm not sure how it's going to sound when I play for you. The mic sounds good, so. But we are live. Yeah, it looks like we are live and we are doing well. So, how is everyone doing out there? I appreciate everyone's comments. I've got Starbucks because I fell asleep earlier. I woke up like 5:30 in the morning and then just started doing work. And then at around 12, I passed out, and it's now 3 o'clock here in China. I am at a small school where I've been practicing. It's a very nice school, nice people. They let me practice here, and very nice people, I've got to say. And it's fantastic to be able to have this little space once in a while. Okay, so about China. If you've been watching the channel here, you see that I've made some videos of the events that I'm taking part in. Doing master classes and being the judge at the drum competitions for young drummers, very young to teenage drummers. So that has been pretty wild in the sense that the organization that these schools have is unbelievable. They are so well organized and so efficient at what they do. It's just crazy. I was really impressed by that. Now, my dream for the longest time has been to open my own drum school. And that's why I started my online school. In lack of a real physical school, I opened my online school because I just love doing that. You know, that's one thing that I love to do. So, for me, it's a very special thing to take part in schools from around the world. This is my 5th time in China, and it's been one heck of an experience. I'll tell you. I've seen some very, let's say, dedicated kids, like 13, 12 years old, that can really play gospel chops really well, and you know, almost as well as those guys that are out there doing it. And I've seen some who are not, are normal kids, you know, just like in every country, I guess. But the pressure they have to be good is very high. Like in most things here in China, if you're a student, you know, you have a lot of pressure in your younger years to excel. That's something that I find strange about a culture. I mean, it's kind of cool, but also strange because full disclosure here, I was a crappy student in school. Sorry, Starbucks getting to me. I was a terrible student in school. In fact, I hated school. I hated high school, hated junior high school, hated elementary school. I hated the whole thing. And all I wanted to do was play drums. Now, for me, you know, what comes after that period of your life, high school, it's more important than those years. Those years should be just left for enjoyment, you know, learning basic things, of course, but you have to enjoy. I think these kids out here, they don't get a lot of downtime, which is, you know, a little bit baffling to me. But that's their society, you know, what can you do? It's the way it is for them. But from experience and from traveling around the world and seeing, you know, thousands upon thousands of players, I can tell you that success as a kid does not guarantee success as an adult. So there goes that theory for them. You know, I don't know what I can't say anything to anybody because that's just their culture. And also, you know, just because a kid can copy another player, it means very little in the real world because they're not going to be getting any gigs at 12 years old, especially if they sound like somebody else, you know, unless it's like a freak show type of thing, you know, talent show or something. So those are just some thoughts that have been going on in my brain after all these competitions, just hundreds and hundreds of kids, of people, teenagers also, you know, in these competitions. And it's been a little bit eye-opening in the sense that, well, all the things that we adhere to all the time as musicians are amplified because of what I've seen. If you take a look here at the channel, you might be able to see some of what you go through in these competitions. But everything we adhere to is amplified. Why? Because, or else you're just going to sound like everybody else, number one. Number two, there's no musicality in that stuff, in the competition kind of a thing, you know. I think that's because of a lack of culture in music outside of, these play-alongs. There's not a lot of music here. I've been to a couple of live gigs actually, and it was just horrible, you know. Chinese pop music, you know, very subpar playing, and at least those guys survived beyond their parents and are playing music. But what kind of a life they might have in music is unknown to me, because the level that they're playing at is very, very low. So yeah, that's what my thoughts are. Now I'm just gonna try to play a little bit, and I want you to tell me if you can, if it sounds good. I've got 2 people watching here. Please let me know if it sounds good, all right? Snare. How does it sound? It's going through the DJI mic, so I'm hoping it's not too bad. How does that sound? Anyone? Sounds good to me. All right, good. All right, so I'm not afraid to play then with this mic setup. That's great. Sounds good. All right, excellent. Thank you guys. Thanks for contributing to the stream here. Now, if there's any questions that you'd like to know about, please tell me. I might be able to answer. Now, the majority of what's going on in China, like from what these guys are being shown, is gospel chops, you know, no jazz. I mean, probably because nobody here has experience playing jazz, no teachers, except for one guy that I met during the competition. I guess he's a teacher at the university in Shanghai. And he studied in New York and blah, blah, blah. So I'm imagining, he's a great guy. I didn't get a chance to talk to him at length. And I wish I had a chance to interview him for you, because he really, I mean, knew his stuff, you know. But outside of that, I don't know what experience these guys have in jazz. And Latin and Afro-Cuban, Brazilian, just forget it. You know, it's not existing here. There's one Cuban cat who lives here, and he lives in Beijing, and obviously he plays very well, Afro-Cuban and all the stuff. He's a great player, but he's Cuban, you know, he's not from here, so it's kind of like how he ended up here, I don't know his story completely. He's been living in China for over 14 years, he told me. 14 years in China, can you imagine? So that's what's going on in the music scene from what I've gathered here in China. If you want to move to China in the hopes of getting a gig or something like that, I don't know if that's the best thing to do. I would probably say move to Vietnam before you move here, or move to the Philippines, or, you know, I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous thoughts going through my head. But if you're absolutely sick of the United States, you know, that's what I do. You want to hear a drum solo, huh, Tommy? Okay. All right, I guess I can play for you a little bit. These are Yamaha drums I'm playing at the moment. They're very muffled here at the school, and so not a great sound. But these are student cymbals, actually, very awful sounding cymbals. But just gonna play a little bit for you and see what happens. I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, that's a no warm-up drum solo. I hope the live stream is still going. Yeah, seems like we froze here. Did we freeze? Are we frozen? We've got some nice comments. Yes, I'm trying to get warmed up, Tommy. Damn, it looks like the stream froze. No, okay, there it goes. Okay, are we frozen still? Now I've got the stream going again. We have several things. Oh yeah, I was in marching band as a kid. Yes, I was. I was in a drum corps and all that stuff. I love that stuff. It's pretty cool. My technique for splashing the hi-hat is just a heel toe. So I don't know if you can see this, but basically heel pops it open, toe closes. And I pop it either out like this or in. And this kit, it's a more comfortable just out. So it really depends, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, yeah, there's some people practicing in the rooms next door here at the school. So that's probably who you're hearing. The bottom hi-hat tilt, it's just this stand. I think they've got it tilted really hard tilt. The screw, there's a little screw on the bottom with the spring on it. I'm sure you guys have seen that on your hi-hat stands. In this case, it's cranked all the way. So the hi-hat is on a tilt like that, very strong. And yeah, so it sounds good though. The stand, I think, contributes a lot to the sound quality you're gonna get out of that. These hats are complete garbage. It's just student models, you know. But the stand helps in achieving a good splash. The pedal, you know, if you have a good quality pedal with nice response, it's going to be good. The name of this school is it's in Hangzhou, China. That's where I am at the moment, in Hangzhou. It's called Land Sound Music School. Is that important for good splash? Yes, I'm not sure what you mean. Is it important for? Is what important? I'm surrounded by drummer. Yeah, you can hear the other drummers maybe practicing in the other rooms there. But yeah, those are my thoughts about the splash. Oh, the bottom hi-hat tilt. Sort of. I mean, it's important in many aspects, actually. To get a good sound, you might want to mess around with that, depending on the hi-hats you have. If they're both even like this, sometimes the suction, when you open, you see, the suction issue of air can affect, believe it or not, it can affect the sound of the hats. So another issue is when they're really tilted like this, you need a big distance between the hats, so when they open, they're not touching. Like these are touching, so that's a bit too much of a tilt for me. Never mind those comments, it's coming from a wrestler. Which comments, bro? Yeah. Especially if you want to do more delicate stuff like it's important to get the right tilt on the hats to get a crispy sound, you know. Of course, you know, the right hats make a huge difference. Obviously, the hats that I have in my custom hats have an amazing sound, and that's the sound I like. This, like I said again, these are just student models, and it's just for practicing. The people can bash the hell out of them, and they're not going to break. So. Oh, I want to know who is watching you. Do I want to know who is watching me? Tommy. You're a wrestler, Tommy. Wrestling is no joke, man. It's a good skill to have in case you ever get in a scrap. As a kid, I've gotten in plenty of fights, but not as an adult, never. I've never gotten in a fight. But wrestling is I think a good thing to do for self-defense. Now, I used to have a friend of mine who's also a drummer. And he was like a tri-state champion wrestler. And he was a little guy like this, but he was beefy, man. And we were hanging at a club one time in LA, and there was this huge bouncer that was super belligerent. I mean, the guy was twice our size, right? He must have been 6'5" or something like that, and huge. And this guy's yelling at my buddy like top of his lungs, "Step behind the line," and blah, blah, blah. He's yelling and being a total jerk. And my buddy, after he stopped yelling, he just went up to him and stared at him right in the face. Like this little smaller guy and this huge guy. And he went and he stared at him right in the face. And the big guy went like silent. He went quiet because he saw in his eyes that my buddy would take him down in 2 seconds, even though he was huge. It's pretty funny. Virgil Donati. Of course I know who Virgil Donati is. The McMahon family is watching you, the WWE. Well, if it's true, I'm very honored. Australian drummer. I have a pair of Virgil sticks. Virgil is a great drummer, man. And he's also, you know, not a bad guy at all. I've talked to him. Like, I did a couple of clinics with him in Germany many years ago. And he's a nice guy, you know. He's a incredible discipline that he has. Okay, could I demonstrate some triplet and 16th note comping with jazz riot pattern over the top? I'm trying to get some more comping vocabulary. Okay, yeah, so about the jazz comping, I think the biggest thing missing in people's vocabulary with jazz is the 3-bar cycle, okay? Let me know here in the comments if you can hear what I'm saying. The 3-bar cycle, that is the secret to phrasing in jazz, okay? Jazz has binary vocabulary, but the great players, Elvin, Tony, you know, everybody, Keith Carlock, I mean, you know, Bill Stewart, Steve Houghton, everybody uses the 3-bar cycle. It doesn't exist to play jazz without the 3-bar cycle, okay? Okay, you know the 3-bar cycle. Okay, you've been studying for a long time. So that is the secret, man. The mathematical possibilities of the 3-bar cycle, the permutations you can get, and plus adding the permutations to the different voices on the kit, just gives you an infinite amount of vocabulary. So I suggest you really dig into that and see what's going on. Now I'm just going to give you an example of what's going on. Okay, Tommy says you should have seen the DW said he had when I saw him in the 3 kit. Oh, you mean DW set? I think you mean. Mark said tap tap tap. Okay, I'm just going to play you a little jazz time. Well, first I'll give you a little bit of explanation. For those of you who are not familiar with the 3-bar cycle, all right, this is the quarter note pulse in jazz. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then you have what they call the traditional swing pattern, you know, on the ride. 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you play like that, you're not really gonna swing, okay? There is some amount of swing in there if you have a really good feel for jazz. But to really get it going, you need the 3-bar cycle, okay? So this is what it is. This is the key to rhythmic success in any music that's coming out of the United States, especially rock, I mean, jazz, obviously. I mean, it's even in Afro-Cuban and in Brazilian, and it's in every kind of music. So this is it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. okay? That's the 3-bar cycle, where it lives in the jazz idiom, okay? So let me just count that out for you just by clapping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 3, 4, 1. Okay, I'm going to count the bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, and it's going to end on 1 again after 3 bars. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, the 3-bar cycle is a rhythmic motif that's used in so many styles. And once you open the key to the 3-bar cycle, your rhythmic world is just gonna, you're just gonna freak out, okay? Because it changes everything. It changes your whole life. It changes your whole life, okay? So now I'm just gonna play with the 3-bar cycle, all right, at around that speed, and you'll hear some of it in action. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's what it sounds like with the 3-bar cycle. Tommy says, sounds like you're just staggering the last bar. No, no, no. The last bar is not staggered. They're sharing at Smalls for at Smalls Bar in New York. I'll listen to you, Phil. Okay, great. I'm glad you're here, man. I really appreciate it. The last bar is not staggered, okay? It falls, the same phrase flows over the timeline structure, okay, in exactly the same position, and it lands on 1 after the 3rd bar, okay? If you want, there's videos here on my YouTube channel that discuss the 3-bar cycle, and of course, on my lesson site, if you want to join us, there's the complete 3-bar cycle study with play-alongs, my new 3-bar cycle book / PDF handout for many, for rock, for jazz, for Brazilian. So it's a really deep study that takes years to acquire. Okay, why does it take years? Because rhythm is deep. It's not like linear patterns or gospel chops where you can learn in a couple of months, you learn some licks, right? To apply the 3-bar cycle takes a while, man. I mean, it takes a while. You have to completely change your ears. It's like learning a new language. You're not just gonna speak, you know, Spanish, or in my case, I'm studying Chinese. I'm not gonna speak Chinese in a year. It's gonna take a while. Okay. I've casually used a bit. Yeah, like take a deeper dive, Rick, because man, it's just fascinating. If you listen to some of the stuff I played in the solo in the beginning, that's also using a lot of 3-bar cycle vocabulary. All right. Now, I'm just going to give you an example in funk. Okay. If you take this motif in funk, it's going to sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 1. Let me know if you can hear the counting over the playing. Now I've got this new mic, and I'm really curious about how the performance is going for the streams. So I'm just going to play that over a backbeat for a second, so you can get used to what it sounds like. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? Now, I'm just going to mess around with that phrase so you can hear how it evolves and you can check out the mathematical possibilities of that through permutations. Okay? So here it goes. 1, 2, 3. All right. It's a never-ending phrase because of the, like I said, of the math, but also once you start to change the voicings, you know, the snare, depending on how you use it, you get all kinds of phrases. And which brings me to the next subject that you can use with this, which is augmentation and diminution. Again, if you don't know those concepts, please go back on the channel here and check out those videos. Of course, the full study of that is on my lesson site. Again, if you really want to improve your phrasing, I mean, there's no way around it. You have to study the deep shit, you know. It's not like, I'm not going to be able to explain it all in a 1 hour video. It's just too much. Tommy, can I do any cross stickings? Yes, but I really don't use that too much, you know. I don't do any. I'm imagining you mean this. Stuff like that. I really don't do a lot of circus type of stuff, you know. I knew this this stick flip from high school drum corps band. Let's see if I can still do it. The rhythm is this. And the stick flip is this. But I really, you know, I haven't done that in years. I don't really do that kind of stuff. Let's see. Yeah, this 3-bar cycle is life-changing when you get into it. You start to sound like you, exactly, because nobody can copy you when you do 3-bar cycle work. It becomes sort of like a mark on you and a mark that defines your phrasing and your voice. It's really amazing. Mark LaRose, Dirty Bum. I'm not a robot, not a robot. Well, usually the music will decide. Tommy says, well, I'm not sure how the conversation's been going on without me, but Tommy says he likes that beat. Okay. Let's see. Prince is a drummer in McMahon, so I don't even know why you're here. What happened? Who's McMahon? I've lost track of what's going on here. I've lost track. Okay. Let's see. You think Prince could do any of this? Hockey puck. Yeah, you know, Prince is, there's a lot of talk about Prince. You know, Prince he was good at what he did, maybe, but as a drummer, you know, no, sorry. I mean, as a working drummer, you got to be able to play jazz, to play Latin, to play Afro-Cuban, all the Latin encompasses. You want to be a working pro, man. You got to read, you got to be able to play shows, you got to, you know, I mean, he was like a drummer that did what he did. He was more of a producer in my eyes than anything else. Uh, so yeah, and also behind the scenes, I think he was one of the most hated people from drummers that absolutely hated working with him. From what I understand, every drummer that went through him, it was like just ended up hating the guy. I don't know him, nor do I care. Whatever, he's gone now. But can I twirl my drumsticks? I never do that. I will never do that. I don't like, I'm about sound and rhythm. I don't care about visuals. As a matter of fact, I abhor visuals. There's some things about visuals that can be appealing for your showmanship, but once it gets to be a distraction from the music and what's going on, it's over for me, That's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. A lot of kids ask me, can you show me drumstick twirling? And I say, bro, you know how many gigs that's going to get you? 0. Drumstick twirls, how good do they sound on a record? Nobody can tell. I mean, one of the issues we're having, I think, in the modern age with music becoming a visual medium instead of an oral video medium, oral, is this thing about being misguided by circus stuff, stick twirling and all that stuff. I really don't think you should waste time on that, especially after seeing, this tremendous slew of kids here in China and how dedicated they are to playing. I saw maybe one guy doing some stick twirling, and there was hundreds of great little I mean, it was insane. So what my advice is, if you got your playing together, then you can concentrate on whatever you want, stick twirling if you really want to do. But until you get your playing together, my priority would be would not be stick twirling, okay? If you're going to play with some serious musicians, nobody cares if you can stick twirl. In fact, that if you do that, you'll most likely be fired and looked upon as a joke, so to be really careful. Is Tommy trolling? He could be trolling, I'm not sure, but he's asked some amusing questions so far that's given some material for discussion, so it's okay. A lot of beginning drummers are vulnerable to these things that he's discussing, stick twirling and all that, whatever. I really, really abhor all these types of things, because it distracts from music. So yeah, about Prince, once again, that he was really terrible with drummers. From what I understand, there's many stories that I've heard. Nobody wanted to work with him in the end, and the pay was abysmal. And so that's that story. There's so many more satisfying gigs to have than Prince as a drummer. I mean, ultimately, there comes a time in your career when you have to decide where you're going to go with your drumming. I think there comes a time where you can no longer depend on pop gigs. Well, first of all, because pop gigs don't pay anything anymore. It's become a joke to play with Madonna or whoever. It's become a total joke. And if you do play with any of those people, you're seen as a pariah, actually. Yeah, question. What drum books would you say a must have? Well, it depends on what you want to do. it really depends on what you want to focus on your career, because there's there's all the traditional books that you get, that you have, like Stick Control and whatever else. But it really depends on what you do. To be honest, I've studied Stick Control book for a little while and not a whole lot. What changed my life is studying with Murray Spivak. When it came to technique, when it comes to technique, that book that just doesn't give you any insight into technique. You really need a hand guru to study hand technique. I mean, all those combinations or whatever are cool, but if you don't know how to use that book, when to lift, when everything becomes kind of a pointless, I would say. You're supposed to argue with him, and he's supposed to tell him how much Prince is so much better than he is. Okay, all right. So Tommy, I'm glad you're having fun on the thread here, but yeah, if you have any serious drum questions, I would be highly appreciative, so that we can all benefit from that. Yeah, okay. So that's what I would say, man. It really depends. And to be honest, there's so many books that show you things but don't really show you things, especially in the Afro-Cuban world, especially in the jazz world. There is no book in the jazz world that talks about the 3-bar cycle. There's plenty of books that show you phrasing, but they don't show you where they got the phrasing, okay? There's maybe one other guy on this planet that talks about this stuff that's alive now. I mean, he doesn't really participate in education anymore, and that's Efren Toro. Chuck Flores told me about the 3-bar cycle, but he kind of just skimmed over it, and he didn't really elaborate because to him it was just his way to play. He didn't think anything of it, And back in those days, everybody played like that, but they couldn't explain what they were doing. So it's really interesting. Okay, Phil, what about Songo? Can you show us your take on Songo beat? Yeah, there's a video here on the channel, complete video on Songo, but I'll just give you a little taste. Of course, you have the real Songo from Changuito. Changuito's a drummer from Cuba. He passed away, but he was the inventor. He came up with Songo. He was the guy that came up with it. So it's basically this. It's totally out of context without the music. It's just a beat. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, now that's the original Songo groove. Obviously, it's not played like that, like a beat all the time. I mean, that's one of the issues with Afro-Cuban music and Brazilian music and any music of very rich drumming history. There's no beats, okay? It's not about the beats. It's about phrasing inside the grooves, okay? It's not about patterns, it's about the language inside the music. So part of that language is the 3-bar cycle, for example. Now, you have the basic Songo beat, okay? Now, I'm gonna give you the Latin jazz, the latest, like Latin jazz style Songo that most players play now. But first I wanna give you the typical Songo that's wrong, okay? Basically wrong. It's not Songo, it's just a fusion beat that drummers in the USA, came up with after kind of copying Changuito's thing. So this is it. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, that is not Songo. In fact, when I was teaching at PIT for 12 years, you guys know, and Changuito came to PIT and he did a clinic there. And one of the things that he said, there was like 200 drummers at the clinic. It was totally packed. Everybody was there. Everybody. I mean, it was like Vinny and I mean, I can't even name all the great drummers that were there because they came to see Changuito, you know. And one of the things he said was, he started naming names. So I'm on stage in front of everybody. I'm not going to do that, but he said, so and so, so and so, so and so, so and so. No songo. I songo. Me songo. Those guys don't know songo. You know, it was really like, whoa, everybody was completely, whoa, shocked, you know. But songo, you know, when you get to Afro-Cuban drumming, a lot of this music is very personal to the people. And you have to be careful what you do. So this is the latest, you know, jazz, free jazz, not free jazz, more of a free interpretation of songo, not a beat. This is the way you play it in a Latin jazz setting. Okay, so 1, 2. All right, like that. As you can see, real fluid and open, and a whole different story. You know, you can't play like that if you don't know the vocabulary inside. All right, and the vocabulary comes from 6/8. All right, it comes from African music. It comes from bata and congas and bongo and all the small percussion of Cuba, but it also comes from jazz and Indian music, all right? All that phrasing is inside there. So unless you know that phrasing, you're not gonna sound like that, you know? You can know the beats, but it's not gonna sound correct, and you're not gonna be able to function in the music, right? So in the West, we have this a problem of getting told that this is this kind of beat, this is that kind of beat, this is that kind of beat. And they found a way to commercialize these things without giving you the meat, the real shit. You know what I'm saying? The real stuff underneath. They give you a lot of like patterns, and this is variation of the pattern but they don't show you the meat. Why? Because they don't know how to show you. These guys that have written these books, they don't know how to show you, okay? And another issue is they don't want to show you. They want to make money off you, but they don't want to show you nothing, all right? Now that's something that I've experienced too. Getting the real information out of certain people is, you know, impossible because they just don't want to show you. So it's a whole slew of issues when you're dealing with music that has deep roots of drumming. Starbucks. Where's my Starbucks endorsement, man? Yeah, so it's really a beautiful way to play, you know, really beautiful when you're free from patterns and you understand how music works and how rhythm works across timeline structures and how to use it to create tension and release. You are golden, right? You're golden. It changes everything. So Another, this is another interesting thing that no one seems to talk about is the issue of tension and release, actually, because it's a musical tool that is used by all great composers. Tension and release is an unseen tool that people are using to create music, right? It's like languages. If you have a beginning part of your subject or whatever you're talking about, a middle and an end, that's the same in music. So if you want to create a phrase, you have to use rhythm and your knowledge of the function of the instruments on the drum set. Hi, Mark. That helps you to create tension and release. Now, just to get you into the frame of mind of tension and release, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play a 4-bar phrase with a very simple groove, okay? So you can see how this is going to work on drum set, a very basic way, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, what happened? I used this to open the phrase. I kept a basic groove. I did not change anything, and I closed the phrase with this symbol here, okay? The symbols are like punctuation markers, exclamation point, beginning of your phrase, a capital letter. The hi-hat provides a texture in the groove. The bass drum is a downbeat, at least in pop music. And the backbeat is on 2 and 4, all right? Now, when you combine these elements, you want to create a 4-bar phrase. You do not break the tension, okay, until the end of the 4th bar, all right? Tommy. You see the thought process that has to be done for all these things that he's trying to show you at this moment, and you're amplifying that by filling the times. That's the journey of a musician. Yes, you're right, Tommy. If you think you're going to figure out that overnight, you're completely out. Yeah, it's not possible to do this overnight. I mean, music is deep and drumming is extremely deep. It's extremely deep. It's a beautiful art form that gets pummeled by modern culture because all people are capable of hearing is the superficial, the surface of it. You have to have a developed ear to hear what's really going on, right? It's like let's say an artist can tell the difference between turquoise and blue or light blue. That's kind of the analogy. So it takes a special person to really try to decipher all this stuff and have the passion to decipher it, because it's what it takes, passion. Okay. Holsworth, man, that's one guy I wish I would have gotten to play with. Normally, I don't care about playing with anybody, whatever, but Holsworth was one of my favorite artists too. Yeah. All right, Tommy. Have a good one. Have a good sleep. Peace out. So, back to the issue of tension and release. When you do this, there is no tension, okay, in the 4-bar phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4. Too much noise. No idea about the concept of the beginning or the end of 4 bars. No concept about creating tension and release and the function of the instrument. You see, I did a crash like after 1 bar or something like that. Just filling the sonic space with noise because there's no undercurrent of knowledge of composition. All right? Now, what do you do about it? What do you do about it? The first thing you have to do is understand by studying with somebody who's going to give you these insights. You can't just learn beats and stuff and think that you're going to be a drummer. You know, that's not what it's all about. It's about music. It's about playing music. And tension and release is a musical tool. It's one of the many musical tools that you need to understand. Okay, now I did a very brief example. There's 4 bars. You can have 8 bars. You can have 16, 32 bars, 64 bars. That's why it's so important to understand tension and release, because a composition, especially in jazz, you know, has this structure, maybe a 32 bar structure, but a soloist who is soloing for 10 minutes over that, you know, you have to know how to build that from the beginning of somebody's solo until the end. And you have to be right there with him in every part of his solo to support, to add, to contribute to the music and everything, you know. A musician that's not aware of structure, rhythm, composition is someone that is not going to be able to function in music, all right? All right. So, hey Phil, along the lines of the tension, do you have any advice for holding steady grooves in, say, groupings of 7/16 notes? Yes. Just whatever grouping you have, just project the energy of the phrase to common timeline structures, like 4, 16, you know, 32, whatever it is that the song needs, whatever it is that the tension is built with. You need to be able to release at the exact points that the chords are moving. Okay, now that's another issue. A composer is going to use chords to build tension and release, so we have to be in tune with that. Melodies are also used to create tension and release. So when we're out of sync with those compositional tools, sounds like we don't know what we're doing. We're just keeping a beat like a robot and crashing wherever. You know, that's a real career ender. You know, so if you're, imagine now you're saying holding steady grooves in say groupings of 7/16 notes. I'm imagining you mean playing in 7, or do you mean in 4/4 and doing 7-note groupings? I'm not sure what you mean exactly, but if it's in 7/8, you just have to, you know, play within the timeline structures of a composition, whether it's 4, 8, 12, whatever. Now, if you're talking about phrasing of 7 in 16th notes in 4/4 or cut time, right? Then yeah, you have to work out where everything is falling, okay? And see where a timeline structure is going to end. Like if you want to play 4 bars, if you want to play 16th notes, is that Cyril? Surreal OS? Cyril? Is he on here? The ladder 4/4 and 7 note. Okay, yeah, okay. So if you're playing in 4/4 and you want to hold, let's say, a 4-bar timeline structure, okay, you just have to figure out where everything's falling. So 1, 2. I'm going to play 4 bars. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's going to be our phrase. 7/16 notes, okay, in 4/4. That's going to be the 7 and 16th note groupings. All right. It's Cyril. What's up, buddy? What's happening, my man? In a couple of days, and some days, in 9 days, I'm going to be back in Bali, Indonesia, hanging out at Posco Studio, the incredible, beautiful Posco Studio, and we'll have more videos for you guys from there. But so you have to figure out where that phrase is landing. Now I'm going to play it in 4 bars. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's 7 note groupings as 16th notes in 4 bars. Now that I know where everything's falling, of course, you know, there's more than that way to do that. There's the, you know, the permutations of that where you move the phrase over. There's a bunch of ways. Posco has been warned. Good to see you too, buddy. Well, good to see your texting here. So now that we know 4 bars, we're going to put that into a groove with that exact same phrase, okay? Now, okay, this is not simple stuff, all right? You have to do this exercise first, just like I did it, and try to keep a 4-bar structure, okay? By the way, it's all in my method called the Skidoo system on the lesson site. If you want to join us on the lesson site, only $250 gets you into the full year program with support from me, okay? By email or WhatsApp or any service that you want to use. So once you have this phrase like this, you can put it into a groove, okay? So just like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that was 4 bars using 7 note groupings with the bass drum playing the groupings, okay? Now, once you get this internalized, that timeline structure, it'll be easier to extend into 8. And eventually, you'll be able to play freely, okay? And use, for example, a 4-bar structure to build tension and release. Now I'm going to build tension and release in a more improvisational way, okay, in a 4-bar structure using that phrase, okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay, now what did I do? What did I do? I used a very common drum set technique, which is called right hand lead. My right hand is leading the phrasing, leading my body. I'm not just going like this. Okay? That is like the beginning stages of this whole thing where you get free from the pattern of the whole thing. Okay? So a right hand lead, leading my body with the phrase, yeah? And that's what it's going to sound like. So let me do it again. Maybe you'll do an 8-bar phrase this time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that was an 8-bar phrase using that motif that you... Yes, it is kind of like dancing. It really is. I mean, it's a flowing, it's like a river of rhythm that flows from the beginning to the end. You know, that's how great players play. You know, that's something that we seriously need to break through in drumming, because everybody is just a patterns player. Now, I see all these guys on Instagram getting super famous, and all they're doing is just playing patterns over and over, and there's no rhythm, you know. Meanwhile, the real musicians just look at that and they go, "What? I don't know. They have nothing to say about it." I go, "Weird." So, man, I really appreciate you, brother. Abadim, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. It's a kind of a double-edged sword, you know, this whole internet thing, because on one level, it allows me to reach people all over the world, and that's lovely. I love that, man. I love interacting with everybody and drummers across the world. And on another level, it allows, you know, the the jive, it allows the jive a portal to cloud and, you know, muck up information that's highly needed. It's a sad situation. Thank you, Ultraviolet Drummer. You're very kind. Surreal, he is right. Ultraviolet. Meinl cymbals. Yeah, I don't play Meinl. I played Meinl for many, many years ago. I used to endorse Meinl, but not anymore, because just I needed a better sound for what I was doing. These sound. This is just student cymbals here at the school where I am. You know, these are not my cymbals, not my kit. But this is a music school where I come to practice. So yeah. Yeah, Surreal says, since working with Phil, you get to understand the difference between playing chops or making. Yeah, man. Playing chops is like being a trained seal in the sea aquarium, you know, doing tricks. Because all you're doing is repeating patterns without consciousness of music. You know, you're just using the music to repeat a series of sequences that you've worked out. And that's not playing music. That's once removed from music. So we really need to combat that in this world. That's exactly right, Cyril. Music is movement. Okay. Now, obviously, there's the superficial aspect of music, and there's the deep part of music. And for some, maybe the superficial is enough, you know. But if you really want to be a pro, if you really want to, you know, be able to express yourself over a lifetime, you get to a point where it's just not enough time to study everything there is to study. There's so much to study that you really have to decide what you're going to do. Either you're going to stay on the surface, or you're going to take the deep dive and start to learn what this instrument is all about, right? That requires guidance. You're not going to be able to do it by yourself. You need guidance. You need to understand that you'll never be the master of this thing. I am not the master. Nobody is. It's like Bruce Lee says. I'm in China right now, so honoring Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee says, no one is the master of anything. When you die, that's when you become the master. Okay? Which is absolutely true. This instrument will never be mastered. Cyril says, our forefathers' history was transcribed through drumming. Yes. There's so much of drumming that is a part of human history. Again, you know, it seems to me that the double-edged sword of this medium and others like this tend to focus on the visual aspect and not the important aspect of actually expression, emotion, and art. You know, it's just weird. Okay, I have a goal here. Let me see. I'm going to add 10 super chats. It's in Hong Kong dollars. So I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes, and the reward will be ask a question, any question you want, and I'll answer it for you. Whether it be about life on the road, whether it be about drumming, or maybe whatever else. Okay, so goal ends in 30 minutes. I have 30 minutes left here on the stream, because the room of the school, there's more classes coming in. Now, I just want to check on the battery of my phone, actually, before I continue, because my phone has been streaming and streaming. And what's going on? I don't see the battery. Where is the battery? Battery marker. Time left. All right, we're still live. Whoa! I almost hit the music stand. Okay, so we are still going. We got half an hour left on the screen. What? Cyril has sent 35,000 Indonesian rupiahs to the super chat. That's like my brother sending me money. That doesn't count. But anyway. I appreciate it. I'm going to buy you a coffee when I get back. I owe you so many coffees anyway. So yeah, here's another. You're so funny, man. Another 35 grand from Cyril. Come on, man. Come on, bro. You know you don't have to do that. We're going to have lots of great stuff coming from POSCO Studio when I get back to Bali. In China here, you know, life is pretty different in the sense of being a musician. I don't have connection with a lot of musicians here. And the main reason, I think, is because everything is so spread out. You know, imagine China, there's 1.5 billion people in this country, or 1,400,000 people. Everything feels so spread out. It's just huge. Anywhere you want to go takes an hour. You got to get in a cab and whatever. It takes an hour to get somewhere. It's like being in LA almost. Many coffees coming your way, buddy. So, you know, you feel a bit isolated musically here in China, unless you go and you have a tour coming up, you know, and then you're all of a sudden you're just thrown into this whirlwind of a massive amount of players, and you suddenly like hooked into the flow of music again. It's very strange. I think there's other artists that have talked about this situation, like the isolation and then the sudden blast of people, you know. I think there's that documentary movie about Glenn Gould, and he talks about this also in that movie, the isolation versus being on stage and being in front of people. It's really a strange thing. Oh man, that would be so great if we could do the Atmos thing with the Indonesian players. Man, it's my dream, bro. Can you imagine that project? How massive it would be, how interesting and beautiful that would be to do like gamelan and drumming from the West, the drum and bass kind of thing. Anyway, I see that I'm losing viewers because I'm talking too much. Maybe I should play a little and get some viewers back. Now, I want to talk a little bit about drum and bass since Cyril brought this up. In many styles that you'll never imagine, the 3-bar cycle is at work, okay? Now, let's take drum and bass, for example. Where does the phrasing lie in drum and bass? So, there's obviously drum and bass that's super binary, with just this 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. That's boring to me. Oh man, that's a great tip. We want to watch. I'm going to check that out. In the big room with the gamelan orchestra, Cyril, man, that would be amazing. All right. Now, I just want you to look at this about drum and bass, okay? I'm just going to give you the motif here ting, 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 ting. And I'm going to show you where the 3-bar cycle is on the left hand. Okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now watch this. If I do permutation 1, okay, permutation 1. This is permutation 1 out of my method for the 3-bar cycle studies. It's 2 notes and then 1 note, okay? Instead of this, it's this. Okay, 2 notes and then 1. Now watch this in drum and bass. Okay, really, really beautiful the way that phrase falls in there. Now I'm just going to play a little bit so I can show you what it's going to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's really beautiful. I'm just gonna, I love drum and bass when you can do it like this, so I'm just gonna play a little more. Man, I really gotta be warmed up for this, so just do a little slower. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And I'm dropping my stick. 2, 3, 4. All right, so can you move the ride stick floor? I'm not sure what you mean. Can more dark jungle drum and bass? Yeah, yeah. Drum and bass is awesome, man. Really beautiful for drum set. Can you move the ride stick floor? I'm not sure what that means, Cyril. Move to floor tom. Oh, you mean can I do this? I mean, sure, I can do that, but it's not very drum and bassy. I mean, maybe you can use it in some instances, but yeah, mostly it's like hi-hat, ride, you know. I mean, you can do anything, actually, as long as it's musical. Let me just play a little more drum and bass. Oh, I really got to be warmed up for that style. So I'll just do it a little slower. All right, so I really love that style. One of the things that I do a lot in drum and bass is 4 strokes on the left hand and 5 strokes on the left hand. That's really nice to do that. 5 stroke, hey, nice to see you, Sergey. What's happening, buddy? 5 strokes on the left hand, you have to snap up the 5th stroke. So Bennett, I'm going to call Bennett back later. My buddy Bennett, he's a great guitar player living in Bali, Indonesia. So 5 strokes with the left hand. You have to snap up that 5th stroke. You can do that with both hands. So now the way it moves with the groove, you just go like this. You have to practice with keeping this hand going through it. So that's really good. So if you now, when you hear it in a full groove, you'll be able to tell what's going on. Right? Oh man, what's going on? So that's something I really love to do. 5 strokes on the left hand. Okay, really nice for drum and bass. What else can we talk about? What else can we talk about? Life in China. I really like China, you know. And it's a place that gives me a lot of inspiration for certain things. Each country has its own inspiration for you as an artist. Brazil is absolutely amazing to me as a drummer. I've been so warmly received by the drummers in Brazil, and the music out there is so inspiring. You know, China doesn't have that. It doesn't have that culture. But it has other things that inspire me, okay? It's so important to get the right things out of each country you're in and apply that to your music. You know, you can't go to, let's say whatever, any country, Peru or something, and expect to have great, you know, music from India. All right, it's Peru. You get different things out of Peruvian music. You can't expect to go to India and listen to, you know, Baroque music, or, I mean, there is that there, but you should go to India for what it offers. And China is the same thing. Now, in China, the drum set is fairly new. I mean, it's really new. It's a new thing for them. So I think the culture of drumming in general is not as strong as in like Brazil or Cuba. And, you know, there's no like deep drumming culture here. There will be, I hope, if certain issues can be surpassed, like the issue of making kids quit music you know, when they reach a certain age to become engineers or whatever it is they parents want them to become. There's a lot of parental pressure here that finish people's careers in music. So each country has its own thing to offer, like Indonesia also. My life in Bali is just amazing. There's no jazz in Bali. You know, there's gamelan music, and there's some good players in Bali, and there's some good players in Jakarta, but there's not the jazz of New York. You know, if you want to listen to that, you kind of have to go to New York. Although even in New York, that's not really the case anymore. You know, the world has changed. The world has changed, and you have to adapt and survive, man. That's why I always say, if there's a gig on the moon, then go to the moon and do the gig, get paid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So anyway, that's what's going on, my friends. I hope you've enjoyed this stream, and I really hope you're going to check out the lesson site. The lesson site is a labor of love for me that took so much time and effort to build throughout the years. And it's a great resource for drummers across the world. I'm very honored to have great drummers on the site there, doing their thing, studying this stuff, and it's really something great in my life to have that site and connect to people across the world. Yoga jazz is very good, but yeah, I get you. Yeah, I don't know what that is, yoga jazz. I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, it's a great pleasure to talk with you all, and I really am honored that you watch this channel for the information that you get here, and for your love of drumming. I'm very grateful. And I hope you'll keep watching us. I hope you'll keep watching here. Oh, we got a new participant. How long have you been there, and is life lacking if you don't speak Mandarin? Oh, Peter Chenkov. Sorry, man, if I butchered your name. I can't pronounce that well. How long have I been here? Well, I've been here nearly 2 months now. I'm leaving in 9 days. I'm going back to Bali. And is life lacking if one doesn't speak Mandarin? To be honest, the language barrier is very serious here. It's a serious issue, and I wish I could speak Mandarin. And I wish more people could speak English. You know, in Indonesia, so many people speak English. It's not a problem to live there. Of course, the more local people sometimes don't have great English, but there's so many locals that do have great English. So here, man, it's really a serious issue. Even many musicians, they don't speak English. So I'm trying to learn Mandarin. And one of the things that saves me is, a translating device on my phone, Google Translate or whatever you want to use. And yeah, that's an issue, a definite issue. I haven't lived here in China, so I can't answer that question completely, but I do feel that the language barrier is an issue. So I hope that answers your question. Yogyakarta city in Java, Indonesia. Oh, wow, man. I would love to go exploring some of the other islands in Bali, which I hope to do this time around if I have the time. Finding the time to do more exploring is always difficult. So, yeah. Let's see. Should I play you guys out a little? Maybe I can play you out. let's see. Play a little. What can I play? Some straight ahead is going to sound awful with these cymbals. So maybe I can do some more like drum and bass type of stuff. I really love drum and bass. So let's see. It takes a minute to warm up with drum and bass. Thanks for the stream, buddy. Thank you for watching, man. I really appreciate it. So here we go. Let's just see. Anyway, I could go on and on. But thanks for watching. Join us on the lesson site, philmontrano.com. Peace out. See you soon. Greetings from China. Bye-bye.